Yo, what's good? This is Corey, your friendly neighborhood massage technician, and today I'm going to be going over our body part of the month, or for the zodiac sign of Taurus, being the neck. We're going to be doing first going over some nomenclatures of the neck, some areas of the body to consider around in or around the neck. Going to go over some self-massage techniques that you can use for your neck, and I'm going to go over a quick little movement practice that you can use on a daily basis to help gain some more mobility in your neck region, so that you can prevent those neck cramps that tend to pop up when you wake up in the morning, so to speak. Right. So of course, in our first video, we went over Aries, the head. We're going into the neck. In our next video, we'll be going into Gemini, which we'll be talking about the arms and the good old hands. But for today, we are going over the neck. So with that, we'll start with the nomenclatures. Not going to go over all the pieces of the neck, so to speak. Just kind of go over some of the general basics that you need to understand what is considered the neck. So of course, we have the spine. The spine starts from the neck. And there are 7 vertebrae that represent what we would call the neck. In essence, those 7 vertebrae, they start from at the base of the skull, so to speak. The first vertebrae, if you will, is kind of like a straight vertebrae with I guess like a protruding hole in the center, where the one underneath that, the vertebrae, is kind of like looping into that, which kind of gives you this motion here on the neck. And that is the very first vertebrae, which is a little different than the rest. The rest of the vertebrae of the spine have the 2 spines coming out from the left and the right, and like the protruding bone in the very back of it. And they gradually get larger, that little back spine piece, if you will, by each vertebrae, until you get to the 7th. The 7th vertebrae, if you will, is like the largest, most protruding one. And if you can feel on the back of your neck, like right where your shoulders start, you'll feel that protruding spine of the vertebrae there. And that's your indication that you are leaving the cervical, because I didn't mention that in the beginning, the cervical spine, and going into the thoracic spine, in essence. So those are the bones of the neck. So some of the musculature of the neck we have are sternocleidomastoid, which is this muscle that comes down here. The muscle kind of tells itself is the sternum, if you will. Sternum here is where it connects the colloidal, or the clavicle, where it also connects, and the mastoid, which is this, in essence, this protruding bone from the skull, that the sternocleidomastoid connects to. So it's the sternocleidomastoid, and it's this long, very thick, ropey muscle that's kind of coming along the front part of the neck. I'm trying to see if I can get you to see it a little bit by turning my neck a little bit, and kind of always forget how to make it protrude. Boom. In essence, here, this muscle that's kind of running along the side, this muscle running along the side here, kind of runs all the way down here towards the sternum and goes into the clavicle, is your sternocleidomastoid. Very thick muscle. It's kind of one of the stronger muscles of the neck, and helps with certain rotations. Helps with side-to-side motion, a downward turn motion, if you will, and of course, turning side to side. There's the scalenes, if you will, which is kind of the muscles that are connected to the back vertebrae, if you will, like the second and third, I believe, and they go down to the first rib, first and second rib, and they're kind of connecting towards the back of the neck, if you will. And there are three of them that kind of link down, one connecting to the first vertebrae, and I believe the other two on the second. And in essence, they are on the side, they're in the back of your neck, and they're kind of helping with the side-to-side motion here. There is also the trapezius, which is kind of like a full back diamond, if you will. So like it is connected to the neck, but it doesn't really do much of the motions of the neck because it's kind of a surface muscle. But it's good to understand where it's at, and it kind of connects towards the top part of the vertebrae. It goes down and fans out to your shoulders, and then comes back in like in that diamond shape towards the lower part of your thoracic spine, or more so the tail end of your rib cage. So it kind of creates that diamond from the top part of the neck out to the shoulders and down towards the middle of the back. And there's of course they help with the shoulder movements and things of that nature, and it's kind of like a surface muscle that kind of supports neck movements and things of that nature. So with that, going to go over some massage techniques that you can use for your neck. We're not going to be using any tools, no foam roller, if you will. This is all things that you can use with your hands. And what I am sitting on here is just a little TV desk stand where you can prop your elbow up and kind of do a lot of these movements, if not just using your hands in general as you're sitting down or as you're standing up or whatever, what have you. So for the beginning of this, let's start with a nice little neck warming activity. It's using the palm of our hands. We can start from the top part where that mastoid is, that I was referring to, and place the palms in that area, and you can just simply squeeze like this, the back of the neck, and just go down the neck and just simply give some presses. You can kind of feel around and see where there's tension. Like for me, I noticed that there's some tension here on the left side of my neck, and you can just kind of think about these areas as focus points when you start to go into some deeper work. You can also, in the process of this little squeeze, use your neck to help massage your neck, such as turning, and depending on where you're at, you can kind of soften areas of your neck by contracting. Like again, like I'm like focusing on this left side of my neck, so I'm turning towards the left side to soften that area of my neck a little bit, so I can go a little bit deeper into that area, of which I really feel it, and it does feel nice. So, you know, just kind of adjusting yourself to get some deeper penetration into those problem areas of your neck. And again, like I said, you just turn into it. You could turn your neck in many different ways just to see what's going on as far as your tensions, your disturbances, and the stress that you have formulating within your neck. So that is one. The others that I have for sure is taking a nice little dig into this mastoid area. So you're taking your thumbs, and mastoid is kind of sitting right underneath your ear, this area here, in the same place, this area here, and kind of taking your thumbs, you can dig into your skull and, like, I guess, support yourself with your fingers on top here, and again using your neck, or actually just technically, you can, as long as you have your thumbs planted inside that mastoid, you're in a good place. However else you want to place your hands, again, you can use this table as support to kind of hold your elbows up and to give you some extra pressure. And you're just kind of turning your neck into your thumbs. And as you move around, you can find areas of tension in your neck here, And again, just like little light undulations in your neck. Move around and see where it's at. You can sit in places that are of high tension, where you would call it a trigger point of sorts. You may feel referral pains, like you notice that it's either radiating in that entire area, or you may feel like I guess radiation of pain that's like going down your neck, or like maybe in your skull. Maybe you feel it over here on the side of your head. I do notice some tension that kind of flows in that area as I'm moving around in the mastoid, but you just want to kind of move around there. There's usually some really good tension there that could be released in this little mastoid area, because that's in essence where, again, the sternocleidomastoid, the origins of the muscles is where you usually tend to find the most tension. That's kind of where the muscle starts, and it's where the attachment is, of course. So, you know, it being inside of the origin spaces is a good place to find some tension and release some of that head pressure, if you will, or neck pressure, or whatever you want to call it, to find relief. So, other technique we have here is, again, looking for that sternocleidomastoid. It's like kind of a pinching motion that I'm using here, and kind of gripping that sternocleidomastoid, if you will, and relaxing my neck on the side of whichever side I'm on, either on the left or the right. Right now I'm on the right side, and just kind of giving a nice little squeeze and running my hand down the length of the sternocleidomastoid. Just kind of checking into all the places that it is. Some areas you can, as you find tension, you can kind of sit in there and work it out a little bit, you know, squeeze into it a little deeper. It's definitely easier to apply pressure to the sternocleidomastoid when it's relaxed, or your neck is more or less contracted, if you will. So turning into the side of the area that you're working makes it a little bit easier. If you want to, like, I guess, give yourself a little bit more tension in the sternocleidomastoid, you can turn up into it a little bit, and that kind of gives you a different sense of a stretch of the sternocleidomastoid as you're working into it. Woo. Another good technique to use as you're using your table, you can use that palm again, and just allowing your head to rest, if you will, on your palm, and just letting your head be leverage for your neck. And it's kind of using more so the owner side of the hand, and it's kind of working your way down as you relax your head and allow that to give weight to the side of your neck. It's a pretty good self-massaging technique to use, especially when you're up here by the sternocleidomastoid, just like the general resting position that you would have if you're just kind of sitting at your desk. It's not really doing too much, just being a little more intentional with it, like sitting on that mastoid area and just kind of digging your palm in there, just finding some spaces and just kind of relaxing into that. It feels really good. So that is it as far as massages go. You know, you can, again, as I was mentioning, use your palms. You can palm the back of the neck here. You can use your head and turn side to side, the back of the neck, kind of giving yourself a bit of a massage of the vertebrae, if you will, as you're moving your way up and down the neck. Right? You can, as I mentioned earlier, use your thumbs to sit inside that mastoid. You can use the desk to kind of hold yourself up with some stability and dig into the back of the mastoid there and get some nice little relief. You can dig into the sternocleidomastoid with your little pinching hand. Kind of work your way up and down the sternocleidomastoid, turn your neck up and down to kind of get some different levels of pressure. And you can use your palm to work your way, your palm in your owner side to work your way up and down the neck, using your head as weight to kind of work your way around in and around the neck area, especially around the mastoid here. Kind of sitting inside of that, using your palm, you can put some really good pressure on that mastoid and release some good tension. So that's it for the massage work that we have for our neck. You know, it helps that feel good and release, and kind of get a little taller with it a bit. And a quick little, I guess you say, movement routine that you can use on a daily basis. It's just simply going over all the movements of the neck. Sometimes we don't give ourselves time just to sit down and like generally go over the movements without tapping into other parts of our body. Like sometimes when we're like turning our head, we tend to turn our shoulders, or going this way, we tend to put our shoulders up, you know. So it's like being real intentional about the movement itself and just turning into the neck in all its directions that it can move. So we can start from left to right. It's like a general slow moving left, slow moving right, trying to be as still and as steady as possible, coming back to center. The same going up and down, being as straight and as seamless and consistent as we possibly can, all the way up. Checking into our shoulders and other areas of the body and make sure nothing else is trying to support this movement. We're trying to keep this just at the neck, and really pay attention to your body as you're moving and see what other body parts are trying to contribute to this movement, because it should just be a neck movement, right? So going side to side, if you will, so down towards the left, really engaging with that movement, going as far as comfortable, and maybe giving yourself a little extra push, but not trying to force the movement. Like as I'm going on this right side, I'm noticing that my left shoulder is trying to lift up as I'm going to this movement. Those are signs that there's some tension on the left side of my body, right? I already noticed that from the massage because I felt a lot of tension within this area. So again, just making these connections, right? So we have that again going from left to right down. And one of the harder movements, it actually took me a while to get a hold of this one, is moving side to side, right? So moving the head side to side, of which I don't have a lot of movement on my right side. As you can well see, it's not a very deep movement for me, but there are people that can do this with like great mobility. I have more on the left side than I do on the right side. Right? So again, taking note of this stuff. And we're going to do circles with our neck, going left and going right. Right? And checking into that. And actually one of the movements that I did miss is going forward and back. That is general forward movement of the neck, back, neck, forward and back. So I believe those are all of the movements, right? So it's left, right, up, down, left down, right down, forward, back, side to side, and circumduction. Boom, circumduction. Boom, bam, right? So just going over all these general movements of the neck, making the movements as calm and as seamless as possible just on a daily basis could, again, just grant you more mobility, give you a sense of where your tensions are in your body and how you can move forward with that, either with some massage techniques or maybe just getting a good stretch in with your neck or maybe getting a good massage. you know, from your neighborhood massage technician. So with that, that is it for this video. Went over some nomenclatures and went over some good massage techniques, went over some neck movements, and I will be back come next season, which is Gemini, and show y'all some work that y'all can do for your arms and these good old hands. So until then, stay blessed and be well.